The town of Maplewood was the kind of place where everyone knew each other's names, and life moved at a gentle pace. There wasn't much excitement most days, but that was just fine by me. I liked the calm, the comfort of familiar faces, and the little routines that made life feel steady. My name's Sarah, and I'd been friends with Mark, a widower and father of 2 boys, for several years now. Mark was often away on work trips. He was a regional manager for a manufacturing company and traveled a lot. When he was gone, I made it my mission to look after his sons, Jake and Ethan, as much as I could. It wasn't because I had any formal role. Mark and I had no romantic ties, and I wasn't related to the boys by blood or law. But over time, we had formed a kind of family unit built on trust, kindness, and shared moments. Jake was 12, tall for his age, with a mop of sandy blonde hair and a mischievous grin that could make you suspect he was always up to something. Ethan, 8, was smaller but just as lively, with big brown eyes full of curiosity and wonder. That Saturday morning, I woke to the sound of laughter and footsteps racing down the hallway. I smiled, expecting to see the boys ready for another adventure. "Good morning, Ms. Sarah," Jake shouted as he bounded into the kitchen, Ethan trailing behind him. "Morning, boys. What's got you so excited this early?" I asked as I poured coffee into my favorite mug. "We've got a surprise," Ethan announced with a grin. Jake nodded eagerly. "Yeah, but it's a secret. You have to wait." I raised an eyebrow playfully. "Oh, is that so? Well, I'll be waiting. No peeking, you hear?" They both giggled and dashed off, leaving me to my coffee. Little did I know just how much this surprise would brighten my entire weekend. The day passed with the usual mix of homework, lunch, and chores. The boys tried to keep their secret, but the sparkle in their eyes gave them away. By mid-afternoon, I was getting restless and curious. I sat on the couch flipping through a magazine, when Jake and Ethan appeared suddenly at the doorway. "Come on, Ms. Sarah. You have to see this," Jake said, grabbing my hand. Ethan nodded, practically bouncing on his toes. "It's awesome. We made something just for you." All right, lead the way," I said with a smile, letting them pull me down the hall. "Close your eyes," Ethan ordered, and I obeyed, laughing. They held my hands tightly, guiding me carefully. When I finally opened my eyes, I found myself in what used to be Mark's bedroom, now transformed into something magical. The room was decorated with colorful streamers hanging from the ceiling and strings of fairy lights casting a soft glow. Cushions and blankets were scattered all over the floor, and in the corner stood a makeshift fort made from chairs and sheets. On the desk, a large sign written in crayon read, "Sarah's Special Hideout." I blinked, touched beyond words. "You did all this for me?" I asked softly, turning to face the boys. Jake's grin grew wider. "Yeah. We wanted to make a place where you could come and hang out. You always look after us, so we thought it should be your place too." Ethan chimed in, "And we have a secret mission for you, Ms. Sarah. You're the team leader." I laughed and sat down on a big cushion. "All right, team leader it is. What's the mission?" Jake pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. "We made clues and hid them around the house. You have to find them and unlock the treasure." Ethan added, "But you have to be quick, or the treasure might disappear." I shook my head, amused and moved by their enthusiasm. "Okay, I'm ready. Where's the first clue?" They exchanged a glance, then Ethan handed me a paper with a riddle. To find the first clue, where stories come alive. Look where pages turn and adventures thrive. I smiled. Sounds like the bookshelf. The boys nodded, and off we went, darting into the living room where the big bookcase stood. We searched through the books, lifting volumes and peeking behind, until Jake shouted, "Here it is." He held up another note taped behind a thick novel. It read, "Next you must find where food gets cold. The secret lies where the ice is sold." Ethan skipped ahead to the kitchen. The freezer. I followed, feeling the cool air as we opened the freezer door. Amid the frozen peas and ice trays, I spotted the next clue taped to a box of frozen waffles. The clues led us all over the house, under the dining table, behind curtains, even tucked inside a shoe by the door. Each time, the boys' excitement grew, and so did mine. It wasn't just the game, it was the joy of spending this time with them, watching their faces light up as we worked together. After the fifth clue, the boys told me to head back to the clubhouse. "The treasure's waiting," Jake said. When I got there, they presented me with a small wooden box, beautifully decorated with stickers and glitter. I opened it slowly to reveal the contents: homemade cookies wrapped in wax paper, colorful drawings, and a thick card that said, "Thank you for being awesome." I felt tears prick at the corners of my eyes. "This is the best treasure I've ever gotten," I said sincerely. Ethan climbed into my lap, and Jake sat beside me. "You deserve it," Ethan said softly. We spent the rest of the afternoon in the clubhouse, munching on cookies and sharing stories. The boys showed me their drawings of imaginary worlds, superheroes, and dreams for the future. I told them stories from my own childhood, of summers spent riding bikes and building forts. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light through the window, we settled onto the couch to watch a movie. The warmth of the room matched the warmth in my heart. That night, as I tucked Jake and Ethan into bed, they whispered, "Thanks, Sarah. We love you." I hugged them close and whispered back, "I love you too." Over the next few weeks, our bond only grew stronger. Mark returned from his business trips and expressed his gratitude for the time I spent with his boys. He could see the happiness in their eyes and the positive influence I had on their lives. One weekend, Mark surprised me by inviting me to join the family dinner, just the three of them and me. It was simple and lovely, filled with laughter and conversations about school, work, and weekend plans. Jake and Ethan took turns showing me their latest projects, Ethan with his model rocket and Jake with his short story about a mysterious island. Life wasn't perfect. There were challenges, homework battles, and occasional squabbles. But the foundation of love, respect, and friendship held us together. One afternoon, I found a note taped to my front door. It was from Jake and Ethan. "Dear Sarah, thank you for being our team leader and our best friend. You make our house a home. Love, Jake and Ethan." I smiled, feeling incredibly lucky. Our story wasn't about formal family titles or legal definitions. It was about the family we chose, the people who cared, supported, and loved each other through thick and thin. The unexpected gift. One day, after school, the boys invited me to the park near our house. "We have another surprise," Jake said with a sparkle in his eye. We walked to a small clearing, where they had built a new treehouse. It was rough and simple but made with care and creativity. "We built it for you," Ethan said shyly. "So you can have your own secret place outside." Tears welled up again. "You guys are amazing." We spent the afternoon in the treehouse, talking about dreams, fears, and everything in between. I realized then that family was not just about blood, it was about trust, shared experiences, and unconditional kindness. Reflections. As months turned into a year, I often looked back on that day when Jake and Ethan dragged me into that decorated bedroom. That day was a turning point, a day that marked the beginning of a beautiful, chosen family. In Maplewood, life continued with its gentle pace. But in our little corner, something special blossomed, a friendship that would last a lifetime.